Welcome to the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast, your guide to understanding how to get out of the Wall Street rat race and start your own mailbox money lifestyle. Now, don't let these handsome Southern draws fool you. These financial minds are teaching our country to enhance savings, increase cash flow, and create passive income, all without the help of Wall Street. Are you ready to break through? Now here are your hosts, Russ Morgan and Joey Murray.
Russ, this is an exciting day at Wealth Without Wall Street. We single-handedly took down Dave Ramsey's renowned article, The Truth About Life Insurance. Did that really happen?
I can't believe that, man. That is so awesome. When you sent me that text on Saturday, I went and clicked on the link, The Truth About Life Insurance, and it redirected to some rewritten article that had no numbers in it. I was like, wow, we really did that.
I visualize you standing in your bathroom or something with your arms up, just woo!
I was.
We did it.
I mean, I was literally, the scene from Rocky when he's getting prepared for the fight, and he's doing the one-arm push-ups. He's got the big huge bar on his shoulders, and he's doing squats and lunges, and somebody's punching him in the stomach as he's doing sit-ups. That was what was going through my mind. I was like, we did it, bro. We did it. It's been a long time coming, but we did it.
Well, okay, so in case you missed it, go back and listen to our episode on Dave Ramsey is wrong about life insurance. And this is where we unpack how he, really poo-poos the idea of cash value life insurance and really used just some terrible math that we just called him out on.
And it really is the math. I mean, we want to break out the fallacies. And by the way, if there's something we ever say on the show that's inaccurate, and there's plenty of times that I will make bad statements, please be willing to call me out on that, because I'm not here to try to mislead on purpose.
Yeah, you deserve the truth. We're all about bringing the truth to light. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, in this article, we really unpack the numbers, which is the one thing is objective. Like somebody's opinion, if you say this investment's bad or good or whatever, that really can be very subjective. But when you start putting numbers to it, that can be verified and backed up, and they're wrong, I do believe that needs to come to light. And the video we did on that, which was so awesome. And if you didn't get to see the video, if you go back to the episode where Dave Ramsey is wrong, you can go to the show notes and it'll give you a link to actually go watch the videos, which is actually two parts. There's right. One on specifically the numbers that were wrong, and then what did he get wrong about life insurance in general. But for him to take down that article that's been up for 8 years, I can't imagine. There's millions of people who've seen that. For that to be taken down after our little podcast and video's been up for 3 or 4 months tops.
Yeah, that's huge.
I was pretty pumped, man. I was pretty excited, I got to tell you.
Now, I'm with you. I'm celebrating with you. I'm also celebrating a little win. You saw me post pictures from visiting Anvil in North Alabama.
Yeah. By the way, you inside the cow pen with those with those big animals.
I call it the bullpen. Okay,
it's a bullpen. That's what it's called.
Yeah, there was bulls in there.
Bullpen. It was the bullpen. Well, I didn't want to say bullpen. Somebody think we're talking about baseball here.
No,
it is spring training.
We're talking about literal bullpen. Okay, bullpen. Bulls in a pen, physically in there with them.
The stallion was in there giving commentary as if he was some sort of cattleman expert. It was so awesome. That cow started to move. I saw you kind of jump.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that thing is enormous.
What do they weigh? 3,000 pounds or something?
I would be guessing.
I had no idea.
I think at a yearling, they're over 1,000 pounds already. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable.
Well, Anvil, if everybody doesn't know, Joey and I are very quiet, silent owners in a cattle company. And one of our prized possession is this huge Brangus bull. And we have now entered into the semen sales market with him. Is that right?
That's right. If you'd have told me this 2 years ago, I was, peddling bull semen, I would have told you you're crazy. And what in the world are you talking about? But
Well, to be honest, I mean, I don't think you've sold the bull semen, have you?
no, not personally. No.
I do want to hear that pitch, though. Maybe we need to record that and just see how well it would go.
That would not go well. We're going down a bad path if we're going down that. But yes, had a great time visiting Anvil. He's in good spirits and he's progressing well. So our investment is doing well.
Well, but more specifically, I think we got a check on it the other day.
Yes, we actually, one of our partners that actually knows what in the world is going on, he is doing a great job of getting his name out there, Anvil. And so he's actually starting to get orders. And so we're actually starting to see money come back towards us, which is awesome. But, that's not what our show's about today, right?
No, but
those are quick
it is fun to
updates.
talk about those things.
Right. We want people to know what in the world we're doing.
Right.
But we are talking today about a very important subject, how people invest emotionally.
Right. I mean, the amount of times we've seen things go up, go down, and the emotions that go along with that drives the market.
Specifically in the stock market is what we're talking about today.
Oh, absolutely. And so today's topic, if you've ever wondered, am I being objective or am I just literally following the herd? Today's podcast is going to dig into the nuts and bolts. And I've got some stories for you, Joey, that you're just not going to miss. These are some of those
epic stories.
I'm pulling out some old rust that you probably just don't know some of the mistakes I used to make. So,
all right, listen.
Joey, this might surprise you, but there was a day that I was willing to gamble my money away.
I am shocked by that.
Yeah. I'm ashamed to say that I used to go to a casino, and where it all started is back at Auburn, where I was sitting there with my brother-in-law and we were learning how to play craps on a Sony PlayStation. Yeah. Doesn't everybody learn how to gamble on a game system?
There's no better place. Absolutely.
So here's the story. My brother-in-law was graduating the same year that I turned 21. So we were going out to Las Vegas for his graduation present so that he could blow all of his money and I could blow any money that I'd got.
This is a bad formula so far. I'm just going to go ahead and say
I'm
it.
not telling people to do this, but we're always willing to share flaws that we've had in our past. I have overcome this. Trust me, I've overcome this. But we go out to Las Vegas feeling like we know what we're going to do, right? I mean, we have been mastering this PlayStation game. And I get out there and I start playing craps. By the way, the reason I chose craps, I played lots of games on that little PlayStation thing, but it seemed like the one that was most interactive. But when I got into the casino, the one thing, you've probably never been in a casino. I hope you did.
I have been. Absolutely.
Yeah. The one table, the one area of the casino that has the most liveliness is where?
The craps table.
Absolutely. There's people high-fiving, man, jumping up and down. Some people cussing, it has its highs and its lows.
Now, I am not shocked that you were attracted to that kind of environment.
Oh, yeah. I love to get right in the middle of it.
This is the guy. You got some stories, Russ. We'll have to tell it another time. But this is the guy that will go into any karaoke bar and just light it up and not be able to carry a tune in a bucket. I mean, not even a chance.
But I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to get up in front of or get in the mix, right? So here we are. We're in this casino in Las Vegas. He and I know nothing about gambling. I just turned 21. This is spring break, man. My birthday is in March. I just turned 21. I am fresh. And I'm out there and we're playing. And, I get the dice, Joey, and I am just rolling these dice.
Oh, the power is in your hand at that
I'm
point.
Just rolling, and things are going good. And the only thing I'm learning is I'm watching these, very sophisticated people around me, and they're saying all these words I don't understand, high, yo, low, and, all these different words. And I kept hearing the word press it. I'm like, what's that mean? They're like, whenever you hit the number, you say press it, they double up your bet. And so then if you hit the number again, you get more money. And that's how that's how you're going to make some money. I was like, okay. And so I'm rolling, and they hit a number and I'm like, press it. And I'm just saying, press it. About 15 minutes goes by. And I feel like I'm like kingpin of this place.
This high roller.
I mean, there's people high-fiving me, like the table is getting like some like watchers, some onlookers, like I feel like Tiger Woods like putting on the practice green, like people are like lining up just to watch. And I'm sitting there, I start looking down, I'm like, man, I got a lot of money out there. And no, it wasn't my money, it was the casino's money. But initially I had put money out there and it just kept growing and growing. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, hey, when do I take some of this money and put it in my pocket, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose, to come out here and win money. I mean, that's the reason everybody goes to Vegas, right? And I'm just trying to consider, like, what's the timing of this? Like, when do I do this, Joey? And this is what ties so closely with today's topic, which is about emotional investing.
That's
now,
right.
We're talking about emotional investing in the stock market, which, by the way, is very correlated to gambling, especially in today's 100%. Environment. And one of our, authors that we follow a lot, Simon Sinek, I've listened to him talk about the idea correlated with social media, with the idea of getting likes and things on our pages, which makes that dopamine.
Right. It's a chemical reaction.
Yeah, that sensation we have in our body. And he says it's very similar to the addiction to drugs and addiction and gambling. Well, I'm having dopamine, I'm sure, like just fired off in my body. I don't even know exactly how that chemical works, but whatever it is, I'm telling you, I know it was going because I was fired up. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? Do I keep going? Of course you keep going. Everybody's yelling. Yeah.
Oh, if you don't, people are going to boo you.
Yeah.
At that point.
No, let me tell you how this works. You roll this dice down and you're waiting to see what they say. And when you hear the guy at the end go 7 out, that just means they rake every dollar on the table and they pull it to the house.
Ooh.
It's like the air leaves the room.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to me. And it's exactly what happened to people in 2001. Exactly what happened to people in 2008 in the stock market. And for a lot of people, unfortunately, it's going to be what's going to happen to them in this next return to reality.
Mm.
And what got us there was emotion. What got me to having all that money out there instead of money in my pocket is I got emotional in this playing of the game and didn't take my logical brain and say, put money in my pocket.
I'm at the high. It's time to go.
Put money in my pocket. I was afraid. I was afraid to miss. I was afraid to miss out on what would have happened if I would have put that money in my pocket and I would have kept rolling for another 10 minutes.
We call that ATMS, right? Afraid to miss something syndrome. But now,
I mean, that's like our favorite character, Dwight, right?
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't know Dwight from The Office? But who wants to be Dwight?
Nobody.
I mean, he's the guy, the assistant to the regional manager. No, assistant.
Yeah, I can't wear a mustard color shirt. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I want to be Dwight.
But do you realize that's what we do? When we are trying to get into that herd mentality, like, I don't want to be the only one that's not investing in the stock market. I don't want to be the only one that says no to a 401k or to this IRA or whatever it might be.
I don't want to be the person who misses out on riding Bitcoin to $20,000. Right?
That's right.
When I bought it at 17.5.
That's right.
I mean, that goes into what happens more times than not is the emotional side of investing. Investing has become not objective like it should be, not with a plan and a purpose. It's become very subjective. I've had story after story after story of people who've told me, oh, I bought this stock at here. It went up to here, went up here, went up here, went up here. And then I rode it all the way past where I bought it.
Yeah, no doubt. I hate to say it, but it's not everybody's fault. It's a really ridiculously well done marketing plan.
Oh, there's tons of money in that.
We're getting a barrage of media messaging on a daily and even every minute practically basis.
Oh, I read some garbage yesterday. It is so Wall Street, Joey. It's just so Wall Street. It's you shouldn't be trying to time the market. It's time in the market.
Oh my gosh.
Which is garbage because there's most people out there half of them are trying to time the market, feel like they know when they're going to get in, when they're going to get out, which is a lie because you're just not going to be accurate on either side of that. You may guess right one time. You may happen to be fortunate and it work out, but the odds you're going to be guess right the second time, very low, very low. Not to mention, most of the people are going to constantly be thinking, well, what happens if I missed out on the next run? So let me just go ahead and put some money back in and end up losing the gains that they had. Hence the reason why the casino, if you do start winning, I had this happen like once, maybe twice, where they came over and they're like, hey, let me give you a free, free room for the night.
They want you to stick around,
give you a buffet, right?
Incentive.
They want you to stay there because they know the longer you stay,
the longer you're going to lose your money.
Before it's over, you're going to lose it back to them.
That's right.
So when I hear people say it's time in the market, that's the same thing. Just keep it in there long enough and we'll end up getting it.
Well, and I mean, it reminds me of a story. Recently, I was meeting with a guy in a bank and we were talking about how we could possibly provide better options for their clients using some different whole life options that we talk about on this show and on our website and other things. And he was like, oh, man, this would be great. And I was kind of surprised. I was like, really? Okay, that's good. I mean, you don't sell a whole lot of life insurance. He's like, we'd love to sell more. I said, well, what's the reason? He said, well, if we could sell more life insurance, that means we could hold on to people's and manage their family's money much longer term. So it's not necessarily about the fact of them benefiting from having access to cash and being able to have tax-free growth and be able to pass it down from generation to generation tax-free. It's about you holding on to their money longer. Wait a minute. I'm scratching my head.
So
how does that
on the death benefit? What do you mean by that?
Meaning that if they had cash in these policies, they could have passed the death benefit down to their heirs tax-free.
Well, I'm saying, are you saying that and the bank was interested in getting those death proceeds and then keeping it in the bank?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Man, we'd have even more money to manage longer. And it just was a reality check for me. I knew this to be true, but he just blatantly said it. So just to your point,
Oh, it's like The Big Short. You remember the scene where they're down there in Miami and they're interviewing the mortgage brokers and Steve Carell pulls the guy off to the side and he says like, why are they confessing? Why are they confessing to this?
He's like, no, they're bragging.
No, they're bragging. You thought he was confessing. He was really bragging.
Exactly.
Because that was the motivation. But here's the thing. Emotional investing is tough. I mean, you and I have been talking about cryptocurrencies and other things on the side with some different, mining computers. And you can get caught up into the emotional side of what if it goes up to here? What if it goes up to there?
Oh, I have a great story for that. When I first got in the mortgage business, I was young. I was starting to make some money. And there I go. Someone says, Joey, I just don't want to leave you out of this deal. Okay.
Joey?
I've heard about this diamond company. They found this rare mine, and I don't even know where it was. It was South America, it was Africa, whatever. And they're like, this thing's going to blow up. You can buy it. It's a penny stock now. So I'm like, I don't want to miss out.
No, I don't
want to lose money on the deal. I mean, so I buy in. And I ran across my stock certificate the other day in our filing cabinet. And it's still there. And it is actually worthless. The paper is worthless because the company went bust. $0 ever flowed back towards me. And I was caught up in it, though.
You did not want to miss out. You had that hot stock tip.
Oh.
And you could not miss with that one.
You had one of those, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Mine was not a diamond mine. I thought mine was a diamond in the rough. Mine was this condo down in Auburn. And a buddy of mine had developed this whole complex. He had sold all the units and made a fortune and had one guy who had bought 2 of them who went bankrupt in a side business. And ultimately in that bankruptcy, basically turned back over these units back to my friend. And he said, hey, we've talked about different real estate deals. If you want one of these, I'm willing to give it to you at this price, this really low price, because I've already made my money and I'm fine. I'll just do it, hand it over to you. And it was $85,000. And he's like, I know another one of our clients who bought some of these from us. They just sold a unit in here for $120,000.
Oh,
I'm thinking, gold mine, right? He's like, by the way, it has a renter already in it. So you're going to get cash flow. It's not a whole lot of money because we went ahead and just got somebody in there just to pay the bills. So it's just enough to barely cover your mortgage payment, the association fees, stuff like that. But don't worry about it because you're going to flip this thing in like a year or two anyway, and you're going to make out like a bandit.
About what year was that, Russ?
That was 2007. Do I need to tell you what happened in 2008?
No, tell me what's happening today because I know you still have it.
Yeah, the diamond in the rough is still in the rough. It's like my golf ball. I'm still searching for it. That's the key, though, is that I couldn't miss out, right? I couldn't miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime.
Oh.
There's this need for us to take advantage of a sure thing or what we think is a sure thing. It can happen very quickly. So believe me, when I'm talking about emotional investing, I have been there and I'm trying my best to fight it. But from our baseline, right, from what we're talking about, we have to look at it in a passive income strategy, not just growth.
Right. We don't need to really gamble. If we really use like you said, the baseline strategy, we've referenced this in episode 4 on getting passive income from life insurance, or episode 14, talking about becoming your own banker, that whole phenomenon and, the strategy that we utilize. We don't have to take unnecessary risk and play this gambling, this craps game in the stock market.
We don't.
Right? But you do have to have a plan. We always try to be practical on the show. And so the first thing, we always encourage people to save well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times we heard we have to have an emergency fund? That's like the common thing, but
that's
really,
a whole scarcity mindset,
yeah,
by the way.
But let's talk about an opportunity fund. Let's find places in your cash flow to save well. And that's where the life insurance comes in play. Using a cash value life insurance policy that's properly structured, you're going to be putting money in a place that you're going to have access to and be able to take advantage of opportunities that do fit the passive income strategies that you're looking for.
Well, and even if you do take ill-fated advice and move into a condo and the worst timing in the market as you can possibly have, if you borrow the money from a life insurance contract, then you actually have always that money growing. You have the ability to put it back.
That's right.
And whenever we're talking about the passive income formula, which is what I live by, right? I'm always looking at, if I pay off a debt, I free up a cash flow. If I buy an investment, I create a cash flow. If I'm looking at that, I can avoid the emotional aspects of things. I really have a very simple plan, because I can tell you, Joey, out of probably 4 out of 5 meetings I have, when I ask people what they want, the word plan comes flying back at me. I just don't feel like I have a plan. I really need a plan of what to do. I really don't know exactly how to do this. And not that we have it down perfect, right? But if we can create a plan, we know the plan will fail because there's too many variables in things. But if we always regroup, we start back with the baseline that we're talking about, or we create financial freedom by the decrease of expenses and the increase of incomes, we can recalculate.
Right. And that leads us to, you got to try to stick in your own lane. We've actually talked about this a number of times, but invest in what you know, or educate yourself at the very basis if you don't know on certain things that you want to take advantage of.
Give me an example of something that you've invested in that you knew.
Well, obviously, we've talked about my background being in mortgage. I had opportunities in the last 5 years where people just didn't fit the traditional mortgage underwriting. But I looked at the loan and said, that actually is a good loan. Like, I think these people will be great risks. And so I made private mortgages. These were at 10%, 15-year notes. Like, these were very beneficial to me to invest in, had full collateral on a house that I would have moved into myself. So those are the things, kind of look at the whole picture, but it's something I knew very, very well. And those things worked out tremendously. I've already had, 2 of those actually pay back off. And so looking to put those dollars to work
elsewhere. Cash flow coming in off of those that was much greater than the expenses associated with them. And it was tied to something that you knew something about. We've given an example of a friend of ours who invested with a company that he knew a lot about and has had huge windfalls within that. And I think our role in this as a coach, Joey, is to sit down with people to help draw up the plan. I have a friend of mine that used to coach basketball, and love hearing him talk about this. And he's from Kansas, so Kansas is where basketball is played. Even though now Auburn this year's had a great year, we just won the SEC tournament or the SEC regular season. Maybe I don't know if I foreshadowed our potential winning the tournament. We'll see. But this guy's from Kansas, and he coached basketball. And he said, "Man, I used to I sit down, I draw up the play, or in our scenario, draw up the financial plan, and I'd send him out there." And he goes, "How many times do you think the play would work out perfectly?"
Oh, very rarely.
Very rarely, right? Especially he's dealing with kids. They go out there and they start goofing around and get out of position, and it's not working. And what he would tell them to do is when everything starts going haywire, reset, get back to the original spots, huddle up, and rerun the play. And that's kind of what you and I do with our clients, right? We sit down with them. We make the agreement that we're going to meet with them on a regular basis. We're going to answer their questions when they come up, and we're going to reset the play over and over.
Because life is always changing, right? Your cash flows are changing, your job. I mean, all sort of things are affecting
us. And I think that helps avoid the emotional aspect that comes along with decisions, because we get people emotionally want to pay off debt. Like, I start feeling the pressure. I know that's a future episode that we have coming is about paying off debt and the emotion that goes along with it. But when we have somebody emotionally wanting to get involved into an investment, we want to make sure, are we following the basic strategy? Is it going to provide an income stream that's going to be greater than the monthly expense? Or are you just basing it on hope?
Right. So maybe if you're listening to this, you're saying, okay, I get it. I've always kind of felt like I've been gambling in the stock market, but I didn't know there was something else. I can tell you that was my experience. So if you're in that position, one, set up a strategy call with us. It's 15 minutes. You can do it on our website, on the show notes. There's actually a link. There's no obligation. We're basically just trying each other out. Are we a good fit for you, and vice versa? So again, you got nothing to lose. Set that up. But if you're not ready for something like that, go ahead and download. We're actually going to put a video in the show notes from Nelson Nash. He's one of our greatest mentors who's taught us so much. Russ, explain a little bit about what's in that video.
Well, I thankfully had the opportunity to sit down with him, and we were talking about this becoming your own banker strategy and what it really is. And in that interview, just a couple minutes long, he helped really just simplify that process. And I followed it up with a visual of kind of drawing out this financial freedom model that we talk about a lot. So I think that's a good visual for people who are listening to this. It says, hey, how does this work? How does this process, just in a very 5 or 6 minutes kind of thing, maybe it's 7 minutes, how does this work? And maybe just a visual part is a better way. And at the end of the day, success within this, Joey, well, one success is that you're not gambling. I'm going to just tell you.
Right. Get off this emotional roller coaster that is unnecessary.
Made money gambling, right? I mean, they don't build Las Vegas on winners, right? All those hotels aren't built off winners. And Wall Street wasn't built off winners either. I don't want to be a loser. So I want to win. And some of the simplest ways that I can win is by following the process. A very, conservative process, a process that has hundreds of years of track records.
Right. It's complete. It's sure. It's not left up to, wonder what's going to happen next that I can't control and doesn't give me peace of mind.
Well, and it gets you off the guessing game, right? I mean, You're not Chevy Chase in the casino episode of National Lampoons where he's sitting there trying to guess on what the person is having in order to win. And I think that's what's happening right now with people in the marketplace. They're guessing. They're guessing, is the market going to go up? Is it going to go down? They want peace of mind, but everything that they're doing is taking them away from it. And the only way, by the way, they feel like they have peace of mind is that they become so calloused to the statements they get in the mail. Countless times have I heard somebody, and I ask them, hey, do you have the statements that you get in the mail from the thing? They're somewhere over here in a drawer. I don't even open them anymore.
Oh, if I've heard that once, it's a million times. Absolutely.
Well, because when you know how uncertain it is, you don't even want to open it.
You don't even want to face it.
You would just rather put it away. Well, what if you put it away until you get to a point where you no longer can work, and then you open it up to realize that number isn't what you thought it was going to be. It's much, much less than what it's going to require you to have. That's why this emotional investing is such a big deal. And that's why we'd love to talk to you. If you're not already visiting with us, call us. Let's have that conversation, because we can talk about a plan that is not based on hope, but is based on guarantees.
All right, thanks for listening in today. Russ, what a great episode. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. I feel like I was right there with you at the craps table, just watching you just on fire. And then when you lost all that money, I was right there with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here to share my flaws and know how much money I just threw away in trash cans early on in life. But I guess that's what it's for, right? That was research for our show today, so people don't have to make those same mistakes.
Is it not what's happening right now under our noses?
Just have to be willing not to go with the herd.
I mean, you said yourself, you don't look good in a mustard shirt with the short sleeves.
Yeah.
Who wants to be Dwight? Come on.
I do not. I cannot. That just isn't me. I like a little flair, so mustard just doesn't add the flair that I'm really into.
Really washes me out. But we have to not be afraid to go against the grain, to be the one that misses out. We talked about the afraid to miss something. What is it? ATMS syndrome.
Yeah.
For instance, I don't know, we didn't get to talk about this, but one of my favorite lines in any movie is in Meet the Fockers when they're asking Greg, hey, Greg, so how's your portfolio these days? And it's just kind of like this scene where everybody's talking about their thing, like they're all a part of this, this herd. It was just a great picture. And what does Greg say? I'd say strong to quite strong. Like you gotta be willing to not be Greg Focker. Like,
you can accept the fact that I'm not going to buy into the emotional roller coaster of investing.
That's right.
And I'm going to make good, sound decisions. I'm not going to get sucked up into the crowd, because when you have prepared, as we talked about in this episode, when you prepare and have an opportunity fund, that leads you to opportunities. And that's really what the next episode 24, is all about, right? It's opportunities find cash.
That's right. And we're going to dive into all kinds of stories of people have come our way, our clients' ways, that you never would have even seen had you not had access to your cash. So listen in. Actually, here's a little snippet of episode 24.
The whole idea of opportunities find cash is this story, because that was a great deal. He made like 15 or 20% on the deal over like a 9-month period of time. Everybody, I think, would be pretty excited about that with the guarantee of that building as collateral. But that just opened the door to where he and one of the executives of this company took over the business, actually did a management takeover. And over the last 6 months, that business has earned almost $30 million. It's crazy. And it all started with the fact that he let people know that he had cash and he was willing to put it to work.
This has been the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to break free of the Wall Street mindset and begin building wealth on your own terms in places you understand, so that your wealth will never run dry. See you next episode.